What
Not
do you
bad.
have?
My recommendation is another OG action show. Obviously, I'm an old man, so I like to reach back into history. There
Mm-hmm.
was a period of time, probably from the late '80s up until maybe the early 2000s, when sort of the anime industry reshuffled, changed a little bit. But there was a point where if a big studio put out, a tentpole release, there would be other studios that would basically try to compete in the same space that same season. You don't see as much of that anymore. But in the 90s, around the time Evangelion was released, even though it was partially funded or published, I guess, but through a partnership between Gainax and Tatsunoko, for some reason, Tatsunoko decided they also wanted to get in on some of the same audience as Evangelion, and they had a history of doing giant monster, kaiju, monster of the week style shows, and so they released a sort of now forgotten anime called Generator Gawl in
I think I've
'98.
heard that name.
Yeah, so it was a show that like I really enjoyed watching all the way back on like VHS tapes back in the day. Certainly not as good as Evangelion. The basic premise of the story is a set of time travelers come back in time to stop like the development of a technology that will cause an apocalypse in the future. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like your fish out of water, marveling at the magic of the year 2007 as seen through the eyes of people who wrote this in 1998. And there's sort of like it's a pretty like bare bones cast and story. You have your titular character Gawl, who can turn into a biomechanical armored suit to fight other bad guys sent from the future, who are all trying to prevent his team from stopping the scientist that's going to make the doomsday technology that'll ravage everybody 200 years from then.
Yeah.
It very quickly turns into like a crazy sci-fi time travel, not even an escapade. Like you find out real quick like some characters aren't who you think they are. There's a pretty big reveal around like the second to last episode that kind of flips how you would have seen all the events prior. Obviously, timeline shenanigans being what they are. But the thing that I really enjoy about it is that the dub is actually pretty good. It's one of those like classic
Another good
ADV.
dub.
Another good dub. This one starring a much younger Vic Minona, who now has gotten himself into some trouble in the 2020s. But back in the day, he was a standout for a lot of um,
Wait,
uh,
what? What kind of trouble?
we can spend a whole episode on what he's been accused of,
Oh,
and
never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind.
and so on. But that's also post dated from this particular dub. This is all stuff in the late 2010s. But in any case, the dub is actually really good. The animation quality, I would say, is around average to above average. There's some pretty cool monster designs, mechanical designs from the series, and it's kind of tough to find on anything but DVD. I think they released what they call the Generator Gawl Perfect Collection, and on DVD maybe like 10 or 12 years ago. I don't even know if it's really available for streaming anywhere, but you can find it through other means. It exists on the internet. It lives. There's some low quality VHS rips that are on YouTube, but you could probably find the real deal if you just put your mind to it. Wink, wink.
Mm.
Uh, but but the dub is really cool, and to me, it's like a time capsule from a period of time where like you could start an anime season, and there might be like 4 or 5 really really high quality shows in the same genre that they weren't telling the same story. They were just trying to capture that same audience, and there was a lot of original stuff. You didn't have as much light novel. This is like actually thinking about it realistically, the era of the light novel adaptation started around 2004.
Yeah.
So really, what you would get in seasonal anime was a lot more original stuff. And Generator Gawl is what I would say what used to be a standard rather than like an above average series. And I miss that. There's a lot of classics from back then. Gasaraki is another one that comes to mind. But it's a little more niche than I would say Generator Gawl is.